Everybody wants to know about my cancer symptoms. I touched on this in another video, but I've got a ton of questions of people asking about the symptoms that I had for me to actually go get checked out and get diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. So for me, the symptoms were pretty minor until really kind of more towards the end, right before my diagnosis. So for me, it started about 8 months ago. I don't really know exactly when, but the first thing that I had was all of a sudden the feeling that I had to use the bathroom a lot more than I did before. And I would go to the bathroom and it wasn't very productive, if you catch what I'm saying. So that was kind of the first symptom that I had. And then from there, it started to go into like some constipation. And basically, that was because the tumor had got to the point where it was blocking my bowel. So, just for context, my tumor is 11 centimeters long, and the doctors do not think that this is like really new. They think I've had this for quite a while. And I think that's the scary thing with colorectal cancer is I had it for a while and had no symptoms, and it just continued to grow and grow and grow until I was at stage 3 and I started to have symptoms. So right after the whole needing to go to the bathroom more often, then I started to get some constipation, which for me was not normal. I've always been a fairly regular person, and so having constipation was not normal. I would have constipation for a while, and then it would go into like diarrhea for a couple days. And that cycle just went until the point where I was literally not going at all because the tumor had finally pretty much blocked my entire bowel. And so then it just became a constipation issue. And that's actually when I went to the urgent care for the very first time, was because I was so constipated. They did x-rays, they did blood work, and nothing showed anything weird. So like I said before in another video, I have a strong history of colitis in my family. And so they were just convinced that it was colitis. And that's when they set up my colonoscopy. Right at the very end, right before I got diagnosed, I did start having just a little bit of blood when I would go to the bathroom, and it wasn't very much. But I did start having that, but that wasn't until way, way later in the game. So ultimately, early on, it was just increased sensation that I had to go to the bathroom more often. And then constipation and diarrhea. Those were really my only symptoms until the very end. So fortunately for me, that tumor, the way that it grew, my tumor grew, it started blocking things off, because if it wasn't for that, I probably would have no idea. I'd probably still be sitting here and not knowing that I had cancer.